Oh my gosh, look what somebody posted on Facebook. Tess Taylor, thank you for this. This just made me laugh so much. So this will basically be Lori and Chad after maybe they serve half their life sentence. Because I have faith in the system for this one. I really think that they are really crossing their T's and dotting their I's and making sure that they get these two. I really do. I think they will get them for life. I pray and I really think that they got them. I think that they're making sure that they have a very strong case for both of them. Not looking so good, are we? Because you know they will end up looking like this. No plastic surgery or facelifts for Lori in prison. Not eating the best quality of foods, having the lowest grade of soaps and shampoos, no face wash, no skincare. Yep, this is what you deserve. Although Court TV came out with some information about her life behind bars, what it's like. She has free access to the pod, I guess, so she could basically, I don't know what's in the pod. They may have books, and she gets an hour of exercise a day. She could use the iPad for that teleme as many times as she wants. She could talk to anybody on it's like a FaceTime, where you could see the person and talk to them like virtually, and it's called teleme, and she could do that. There's no restrictions. I mean, as far as how many times and when she could do that, she could do that at any time and as many times as she wants. So she could basically talk to anybody. It's all recorded, of course. Besides her time with her lawyers, of course, that's attorney-client privilege. I mean, that they have that privacy. So that's the only time that she could have a private conversation on it where it's not recorded. But anyway, I mean, I don't even know. Wonder if her family's even talking to her after that. Do you wonder? I've wondered that. Like after her mom and sister, for instance, they found out about all this. Do you think they're still talking to her? What do you think those conversations are like? Makes you wonder if Lori's has some kind of an excuse or if she's denying it. It just makes me nervous because if she was using those burner phones, that she could try to deny that she was even there when Chad and Alex were doing that to the kids. And if they can't trace her at that moment there, then she might try to say, well, Chad lied to me. He said that the kids were safe and he was taking them somewhere with a friend or something. I didn't know he was doing all that. And she could totally just turn this around, acting like she had no idea. I don't know what they have. We haven't been able to see the discovery on her case as far as do they have GPS locations for her phone? I'm guessing no. I don't know. Either I'm guessing she wasn't there for that moment. Not that she didn't know about it, but she had them take care of it and didn't want to see it. Or if she was there, she didn't have her phone. She had her burner phone or whatever, the phone she used to talk to Chad, which is not traced back to her because you don't have to register it to yourself. That's why people use them for crimes, because it has no trace back to them. You can't prove, you don't register it with your name, so you can't prove that would even if they have a traceable GPS in those phones, there's no link to you for that, because you could use them without it being linked to you. But anyway, I got kind of off track. So yeah, so for jail, she's in a cell by herself, though. She doesn't have a cellmate, but she does have free reign, I guess, of the pod. And then she gets an hour of workout every day, hour of exercise basically. And there's a rec room in the pod, which has phones, television. They have tables and chairs. She could talk to the other inmates, because she's in general population. She's not in segregation. So because she's not in there on murder charges right now, it's just the desertion charges and a couple other charges, but they haven't charged her with the murder yet. So she's just in general population. And I guess she has access to the shower whenever she wants. But I guess her cell is by itself. She's not in a dorm, but the pod area she has access to. So sometimes they have books in there, and then they have the iPad, so she could basically go in there and communicate. She could socialize, talk to people who are in there. But then when she goes back to her cell, it's just her. So, okay, let's get into this video. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So tonight I'm going to watch that Dateline. I still haven't watched the Dateline special yet, but I just re-downloaded the NBC app, so I'm going to watch it later because you get 2 free credits. So I found it, so I'm able to watch it, but I'm going to do that later after I edit this video. And then I was thinking maybe we could do a live tomorrow and kind of discuss it, because I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen it, but I have yet to see it. So look for a live tomorrow. Well, actually, I don't know. By the time I edit this video, and by the time you see this video, it might be tomorrow. But anyway, So first I want to mention one thing that I've been getting a ton of comments on about the Brandon Boudreaux documents about Melanie Boudreaux, Pawlowski, or whatever she goes by. I think, yeah, she goes by Melanie Pawlowski now, but Lori's niece being in Hawaii with Lori in October sometime. And then I'm going to read Barry Cox's response to Stephen, Melanie's dad, back in when all the issues were going on with the custody of Melanie and stuff. So, and I did confirm, thanks to everybody that sent me copies of those court documents, of that video I did reading all that crazy stuff about Melanie's mom and what just her crazy things that she made Melanie do, and how Melanie's dad, Stephen, basically the stuff he was saying about Stacey's family, about Barry, about Janice, about Stacey, and just about how she was, that was all true. So I just wanted to let you guys know that first. I'll link the video I did talking about that information in the description of this video. So if you guys want to check that out, check it out. If you haven't seen these documents or heard about some of the stuff in them, I would recommend checking out this video because it's very interesting. Some of the stuff that Steve, Melanie's dad, Melanie Pawlowski's dad, claimed about her mom, Stacey Cox, which is Lori's sister, and Lori's parents, Barry and Janice. So I'm going to put the link in the description below. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Okay, so there's this thing where everybody's talking about how Melanie Boudreaux, Pawlowski, Lori's niece, was actually in Hawaii with Lori in October, which is kind of weird because we didn't know Lori was even in Hawaii in October. So I wonder if maybe Lori went to Hawaii early, maybe late October, and stayed there until November when she married Chad in November. I mean, could that be it? Or did she go and then come back? I don't know, but I'll just read you this part, show you this one part before I read you the other stuff. So this is Brandon Boudreaux's court documents about the custody. He's trying to get custody of his kids over Melanie. So there's all kinds of evidence. You know what, maybe I'll put this up the community post for those of you guys who haven't seen these documents, but there's all kinds of text messages that'll be in this case. So this would be interesting to be able to see this case. Melanie Gibb might be one of the witnesses. Okay, so I'm going to read you that part of the document that I was talking about. So remember when they talk about mother, they're referring to Melanie Boudreaux Pawlowski, Lori's niece. Miss Gibb will testify regarding her knowledge as to preparing a people, mother's involvement with preparing a people, Miss Gibb's conversations with mother regarding the attempt on father's life, mother's beliefs, mother's travel to Hawaii in October to spend time with Lori Vallow, Daybell, and all other aspects of this case to which she has direct knowledge. So how crazy. So wonder what Melanie Boudreaux said about the attempt on father's life to Melanie Gibb. I mean, I wonder if that's going to be video recorded, if we're going to be able to watch that. We're going to be able to watch Melanie testify. I don't know, Melanie Gibb, I mean, about all this stuff. Oh, and actually, and watch Melanie Pawlowski too testify, because it says mother is anticipated to testify regarding all aspects in this case. And if you look at it, there's some interesting stuff that we could find out, referring to like Lori and Chad and all the crazy beliefs and stuff. If you look at the evidence, like the text messages between parties regarding mother moving to Boise, Idaho. I'm going to skip some. I'm just going to read you some of the ones that maybe have information about Lori in it and that whole case and Chad's beliefs and the whole cult thingy. It says text from Jade Thelen regarding the payments for life insurance policy. So I'm not sure if that's Brandon's life insurance policy, and maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some interesting text about that, because we know he was shot at, which a lot of us think that it had to do with that life insurance policy, that Melanie was behind it. And then it says text message between parties regarding life insurance policy and Christmas. Okay, so screenshots of text sent from mother's husband to his ex-wife. So I actually did a video on that. So mother would be Melanie Pawlowski, her husband, which is Ian, his ex-wife, which is Natalie. So it would be from Ian to Natalie, his ex-wife, which I have those. Like I said, I'll just read them to you real quick. Okay, so here's the two text messages I have from Ian to his ex-wife Natalie. Okay, so here's the one that I have, the text message from Ian to his ex-wife Natalie concerning Melanie's knowledge of Brandon's attempted murder. So it says, don't respond. I need you to encourage Brandon to keep info he gets on the down low until I can get this sorted out. I want to help, but it will be tough if everyone starts figuring out what I'm learning. She didn't know beforehand what was going to happen. They made the attempt, failed, and told her about it after the fact. I understand that he doesn't want the kids around her because of all of this, but I believe if she can see them, it will put a huge dent in her trust with her uncles. She's scared and had been told her 2 middle children are dead. She has a family court date on 12/11. I'm trying to get her to go. I don't know if I can convince her to go to the family court hearing on Wednesday. I'm trying, but she got an answer last night from God himself. Her uncles have her so wrapped up. They're telling her she needs to move to Amen. That's not going to happen because I'm not going to leave Rexburg. They think this has something to do with jurisdiction. Dumbest thing ever. Don't respond. Just wanted to update you earlier because I had a quick second to call. Stay safe. Oh, and this is another thing I had in that video too. Email from Natalie Pawlowski to Mark Bell regarding her ex-husband's marriage and lifestyle with Melanie, basically. It says with mother, which remember Melanie is the mother that they're referring to in this. So let me read you that email. This one's pretty interesting. Hi. So I shared the information that you gave me and relayed it. And basically on their wedding night, she laid out the whole cult thing, but didn't say it was a cult, and he was just so confused. Anyway, she told him that in March, a demon possessed my body, and my spirit came to her in a vision or a dream and told her this. She was interrogated by the police for 5 hours yesterday and told my ex that 2 of the police officers were possessed with the spirits of 2 of the original 12 disciples of Cain. She told him that my kids' spirits were full of light, but that can change basically at any moment. She has isolated him pretty badly. Like she has driven him to work every day this week for one reason or another. Won't let him talk to his family, makes him listen to weird podcasts where he feels this pit in his stomach, but she tells him that they are light and dark weapons, and the bad feelings are the dark weapons. She said that in a past life she was the niece of Jesus. Look, my ex is not the best person in the world, but I am legitimately scared for my own life, and my kid's life, and my ex's. I heard something about a missing person that she might be involved in. I don't know the details on that one. I have literally no idea what to do. I think he is planning on going to the police for some help, and I'm thinking she might blame me and come after me. I mean, if she is convinced that I'm a demon and God tells her to kill me, I could end up another missing person case. He is terrified that he asked me to take the kids away on his weekend, which is next weekend, because he doesn't want them around her. He has never done that ever. He said that she didn't want me learning her last name because I would contact her ex-husband and he would tell me that she tried to kill him and she's in a cult. I've never seen anyone so terrified. He told me to look up the names Alex Cox and Chad Daybell. I'm so sorry for dragging you into this, but I have no idea what to do. Can you just get this email to the right people? Have them help us? Have us help them? I don't know. Thanks, Natalie Pawlowski. Ooh, I never heard this one. Audio recording of call with the ex-wife of mother's new husband regarding the shooting. So that'd be Natalie's call. Maybe she's talking about something that Ian may have told her about Melanie, because he was basically going behind Melanie's back, texting his ex-wife, telling him his concerns about Melanie Pawlowski, like how she was kind of scaring him. He was scared for his kids and stuff like that. So then there's surveillance images from October 2nd and October 3rd. I'm guessing this is from the storage unit. No, wait. I don't know, it could be from the storage unit or it could be something else, because October 2nd was the day he was shot at, so the day that Brandon was. So maybe there's surveillance from something else that they caught from that day. Or maybe they're bringing in that surveillance from the storage unit because East Idaho News kind of made that link that how they were taking the tire and the seat from Charles Vallow's Jeep, because therefore the back door could open or the back window or whatever. So if that's the car they were using to shoot at Brandon, they were shooting from the back window, so they had to take the seat and the tire off. Where are they going to put it? So they stored it in the storage for a couple days and then they got it after that. But it all goes along with the shooting, so that's why that could be the surveillance they're talking about. Domestic violence assessment dated June 4th, 2019 for mother's new husband. Okay, so that's another thing that's in that other video that I was talking about. I actually actually do a community post posting some of the allegations for these charges. I just don't want this video to be unsuitable when I had already talked about it in another video. So for those of you that haven't seen that other video, I will leave the link in the description for that video. Plus I will post the documents on the community page. It's referring to Ian's charges that his ex-wife Natalie accused him of. Okay, let's get back to the evidence list. Oh yeah, East Idaho News article titled "Enhanced Video Shows Who Visited Lori Daybell's Storage Unit the Same Day Her Relative Was Shot At in Arizona." And then Steve Cope, which is her dad. So Steve Cope filings for Washington case number 952220932. Is that an old case or a new case, I wonder? Wonder which case that is. I'll have to look into that. Responses from Daybell children. Huh. What that's all about. And then this one is kind of weird. Melanie's Facebook post from November 2nd, 2019, offering a reward. Does anybody know what that's all about? A reward for what? Because that would have been before JJ and Tylee were even known to be missing. They were already missing, but nobody knew until after that welfare check, and that hadn't happened yet. So what is the reward for her kids? I'm so confused with what that one means. Do you guys, did you guys hear anything about that one? Well, it probably has something to do with her uncles. Remember that text that Ian wrote to Natalie that Melanie's uncles had told her that about her kids? So it probably is a reward for her kids, I'm guessing. That her uncles basically said that they weren't alive anymore. So maybe it has something to do with that. And I'm pretty sure when he's talking about uncles, Melanie's uncles, he's referring to Alex and probably Chad, an uncle by marriage, because I couldn't see Adam being involved. That would be her other uncle, and I don't think he's involved in any of this because we haven't heard much of him. It seems like he kind of is distant from all this crazy stuff. And then Melanie's Facebook post from June 1st, 2020, I think that is referring to that post that I did a video on it. She made this long post. Maybe that could be that. But as far as the reward, that's the first I've heard about that. Okay, now back to Melanie Gibb basically speaking stuff that she knows that supposedly Melanie Pawlowski talked to Melanie Gibb about. So now Melanie Gibb is coming forward. So, like we said, we all knew that Melanie Pawlowski wasn't being honest, and looks like Melanie Gibb is gonna help out. You know, that's good, right? She's gonna help. Looks like she knows some information. It's weird though, on the interview with Nate, she talked about how she really liked Melanie Pawlowski and how she's so sweet and stuff, but it's kind of crazy if Melanie Pawlowski did talk to Melanie Gibb about the attack on Brandon's life. I mean, look what that says. So what did she say? What is Melanie Gibb gonna say? It's almost like a little too late. She should have spoke up before. Melanie Gibb should have. I know. I mean, I agree with most of you as far as she should have spoke up before, but hopefully her intentions are good now and she's just trying to make up for not speaking out, and she could have possibly probably saved the kids, but her silence didn't help, and it could have helped. So maybe she is regretting it and is trying to help out as much as she can now because she knows that she should have said something earlier. I feel like I don't think her intentions are bad. I think she screwed up and she should have came forward a lot sooner, and I think maybe she's feeling a little bad about that, and now, like I said, she's trying to kind of make up for it. But I also feel like she's liking all this attention too. It's like she's almost kind of letting it get to her, all these interviews. Like I don't think she has a bad intention though, but I think she's just letting it get to her head with all this attention she's getting. But that doesn't mean that her intentions as far as now wanting to try to give as much information as possible to help all these cases, whether it's Brandon's and for the kids and for Charles. So she's trying to do the right thing now, I feel like. But as this is happening, it is kind of getting to her head, in my opinion. I mean, she's liking all this spotlight and stuff. Maybe she is trying to do the right thing now. So she made a mistake and she realizes it, and there's no going back. I know it costed people's lives, but at least now she's trying to give the information to help with it now. But I still haven't got to see the dateline with her interview. So, like I said, I'm going to be watching that later. I'm not sure how that went. But it's kind of crazy to think that Melanie Pawlowski did talk to Melanie Gibb about somebody shooting at Brandon Boudreaux, her ex-husband. Why was that not mentioned when they were trying to figure all that out after Melanie Gibb had went to the cops? Wait, let me correct that, because she didn't actually go to the cops. She kind of misled us in that interview, like she went to the cops, but the cops went looking for her to ask her questions. So, same question though, why didn't she say that when they went to her? Did she tell them about all this information with Melanie and with Charles? I mean, just like all the different details, because I mean, if she knows some information about that, I guess I'm going to be interested to see what Melanie Gibb knows about it. What did Melanie Pawlowski tell Melanie Gibb about the shooting? You know, was Melanie, well, I mean, I do think Melanie Pawlowski was involved, definitely, I really do, but did she tell Melanie Gibb that? Wow, like, if that's the case, if Melanie Pawlowski did tell Melanie Gibb that she was involved in that or knew anything about it, then why is she not arrested? Why is Melanie Pawlowski not arrested for that, or whoever is involved arrested for that? Or did Melanie Gibb just go to the police recently about it? I mean, it just so many questions now after reading these documents. You just are like, well, wait a minute. If somebody knew about a shooting, an attempted murder basically, they should be in jail if somebody's involved. And then about Charles's death, I mean, it's just, I guess we'll have to wait and see what the heck she knows. And why did it take her this long then? That's what I just don't understand, because if Melanie Gibb told the cops when she went to him way back about the kids, she told him everything about the shootings too, then why wouldn't somebody be charged with attempting on Brandon and then Charles' death? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. It doesn't say specifically what the attempt on father's life. It doesn't say exactly what is going to be said, but it sounds like Melanie Pawlowski had some knowledge of that, right? And then she told Melanie Gibb, so just, I guess we'll have to wait and find out. So what do you guys think of the part that says Melanie Pawlowski went to Hawaii to see Lori in October? I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think she went in October, came back, and then went back in November to marry Chad? And then, because then they came back and then also went back to live, but they went before. So that would mean that she went 3 times in like a matter of a month? Because as far as what we knew before, she went in the beginning of November, they got married, then she came back, and then they went back after, remember, they fled when they got the wellness check that day after they went. Well, not right away. He went to visit his kids, and then we don't know what Lori did those couple days. He was in California visiting his kids, and then they went to Hawaii. So if they went in October too, does that mean they went 3 times? Wow, that's a lot of money to fly back and forth to Hawaii 3 different times. But like I said, I don't know, maybe they went in the end of October and stayed through the beginning of November, and then that's when they got married and then flew back. I mean, who knows? But for some reason, I don't think they were. I think they must have went 3 times, right? Because Lori and Chad get married on November 5th in Hawaii. So I don't know. If you go through the timeline, though, all this stuff happening, it doesn't leave much room for them to be in Hawaii. Unless if they just went for a couple days. Because, see, Melanie and Alex fly from Idaho Falls to Phoenix and then pack up Melanie to move to Rexburg. That's 10/31, October 31st. And then on October 28th, Melanie signs her lease in Rexburg. So 10/28, it says 2 men who appear to be Alex Cox and Chad Daybell are seen moving bikes and other items into the storage unit. So obviously Chad wasn't there at the end of October. He wasn't in Hawaii. But I guess Lori could. But looks like Melanie was actually, no, she was not in Hawaii like that. At least the last week of October, she was signing a lease and moving and stuff. So I don't know, unless if it was like mid-October. Maybe Lori and Melanie were in Hawaii the middle of October. I don't know. I'll have to go through the dates exactly to see if there would have been time they could have both been in Hawaii at the middle of October. So maybe when Chad was taking care of Tammy's funeral arrangements and the memorial service and stuff like that in middle of October, maybe that's when Lori and Melanie were in Hawaii without Chad. Yeah, I guess it could have been like the very middle, because the first couple weeks in October, Melanie was still 10/9, October 9th. It was the last time Melanie seen her kids, I guess. So she was still in town, and then it looks like around the middle of October is when she moved. So I don't know, unless if they just went for a couple days. But why? Why would they do that? It's expensive to fly to Hawaii just for like a little vacation. So I don't know. I'm going to try to look through the timeline and see if I could figure out a couple days where they both could have been in Hawaii. Okay, I want to go back. I just noticed something that I never noticed before on this video here. It says JJ's first words were bye-bye Ty. How heartbreaking is that? Oh my gosh, I didn't notice that before when I watched this. Wow. Okay, so let me read you this court document though here. So this is Barry Cox's response to Steve, which is Melanie's dad, when Steve had that long court document, all those complaints about Stacey and the Cox family. This was kind of a response. I'll leave a link in the description of this video of the video I did reading some of these complaints about Stacey, Lori's sister that died, and about Melanie and just the Cox family in general. It's pretty interesting, so I'll leave the link in the description. It says, "My name is Barry L. Cox. I make this declaration in support of Stacey Cope's motion for primary residential care of her daughter Melanie. My firstborn child is my daughter Stacey L. Cope. I am a practicing financial planner with BS and MS, degree from Brigham Young University, and a doctorate from Sitness Belt Law School." But we see how he was pretending to have this law education and this law degree, and he was lying. So is this a lie too? I think it is. Anyway, so it says, "I'm 54 years of age. My daughter Stacey Cope married Stephen Cope about 8 years ago, and they have one daughter, Melanie Cope, now aged 6 years. During the period of their marriage, I have taken Steve, Stacey, Melanie on vacations to Texas and Las Vegas and have gone with them on vacations to Hawaii. I have often bought their airplane tickets, rooms, food, and always whatever incidental expenses they have had. We have taken them with us to Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, the zoo, miniature golf, movies, water skiing, and out to horse farms. I always believed that we had a close and loving relationship until after Steve left Stacey. I did notice over the years that Steve spent an excessive amount of time working. I am also a hard worker, but have taken time for my family. I would call in the evening sometime to talk to Steve, and he was never there. It was common for him to leave before breakfast and not return until Stacey and Melanie were in bed for the night. I loved Steve and wanted to help him. Accordingly, I warned Steve at one point that his absence and estranged attitude for his wife and child would lead to problems. I told him that a wife was like a delicate flower and needed to have tender love and care, that a husband was like a gardener who needed to provide nurture and care to see the flower flourish and bear fruit. He was indifferent to my suggestions. I could tell from his response that he did not want to be reminded of his spousal and parental responsibilities for Stacey or Melanie. Over the last few months, Steve's interest was ambivalent and inconsistent. Steve is basically a construction worker type with a limited mentality for things of delicacy or of a sensitive emotional nature. He is very good with buildings, lumber, and construction-oriented things, but his ability to understand medicine, disease, or deal with family or financial matters is limited and or below the average. For example, my daughter graduated from BYU with the highest honors in her chosen field. Steve, a major in construction management, never did graduate because he could not pass the required basic math classes. On the weekend of July 8, 1995, Steve came to California to visit my daughter and Melanie after a long absence. He said he was lonely and wanted his family to return to Washington so he could take care of them. This was great news to me, and I was anxious for Steve to be more involved with his family. This seemed like a good new beginning, especially as Stacey was getting more in control of her diabetes every day and seemed to have a new lease on life. So Stacey and Melanie returned to Federal Way to their home. Things went okay for a few days. Then things began to decline, and on July 28, 1995, Steve abducted Melanie in the middle of the night and left Stacey alone in the house. Steve also took Stacey's car, her wallet, money, and personal day journal and left her to die. Soon, Steve ordered all utilities turned off and closed their bank accounts. He left Stacey in a desperate state, without resources, without ever disclosing to her his intentions. He ran away like a thief in the night. In my view, Steve's actions of cowardness were unconscionable and criminal. I had to rush to Washington to help my daughter. It was obvious that Steve wanted to prevent Stacey from having any resources for the return of her daughter or her own legal help. Steve's legal action filed against Stacey was to have her thrown out of her own home by Sunday, August 6, 1995. He demonstrated in his complaint that his intentions were not that of a gentleman and lacked common decency. Moreover, the allegations about Stacey's medical condition, her mental state of mind, and her ability as a mother are fictitious and designed to accommodate his evil agenda. Stacey is an intelligent, well-educated person. She has devoted her last 6 years to being an excellent mother to Melanie and offered to be a loving wife to Steve. She desires to continue to provide the love and parental care for Melanie. Melanie loves her mother very much and has had an awkward relationship with her father, Steve, because of his lack of interest in her for the past 6 years and his demanding work schedule. Steve's recent decision to suddenly take a sincere interest in Melanie and her well-being appears to have had an ulterior motive. I am very concerned for the well-being of Melanie and want her to be returned to her mother's care. care. Steve has kept Melanie hidden out of sight and in the care of his friends and family since July 28, 1995, and offered no communication to Stacey or me. All of the allegations about Stacey being a mental case is absurd. The allegations made by Steve Cope regarding me and my wife are false. I was shocked by these malicious statements. It is my hope that the court will examine the facts of this case and in light of the truth find in favor of ordering Steve to return my granddaughter to her mother and to require him to take responsibility for her basic financial needs until the divorce is final and to restore her personal property. Please take into consideration that Melanie does not want to have her primary caretaker to be a hired babysitter or her father who is hardly ever around or his relatives who live in various parts of the country. Melanie wants her mother to be her primary caretaker. This I know above all else that is true in this case. I know it would be in Melanie's best interest. Thank you for any consideration you give to this letter and my efforts to offer an objective personal testimony of the facts. Feel free to telephone me collect for any discussion of these issues. Under penalty of perjury, I declare the above information is true and correct. Barry Cox. So I don't know. I mean, I know there's two sides to every story and sometimes the truth is in between, but I tend more to believe Steve than Barry because look at Barry's track record. Them, first of all, not paying taxes basically their whole life, arguing and trying to get away with not paying taxes. And then pretending to be a lawyer and to basically pretending to be something he's not and lying to people and taking their money and pretending that he's something that he's not. I mean, that speaks volumes. And then look at his family. Alex, look what Alex did. Look how Lori is. I tend to believe Steve over Barry. Sorry, when you go by their track record, I feel like I don't know, it's hard to believe him. So, but like I said, I know there's two sides to every story. I would love to see an interview with Steve now. Maybe maybe he will do an interview, hopefully soon, so we could kind of get his side. But okay, I just wanted to read that to y'all, and hopefully you guys had a good weekend, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.